Hello and welcome to American Stock Australian Survivor. I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks for joining us. We just watched episode 4 of Australian Survivor Australia vs. the World, and there will be spoilers ahead. Before we get started, thanks Matt and Leah for coming back.
It's great to be back. Thanks, Rachel.
Yes, I'm so excited about this season. Wow, what right off the bat, something going on. I'm very surprised by it, and I'm thankful that Sophia was able to step in and fill in for Matt and myself. Thank you, Sophia, so much. You did a wonderful job.
So getting into today's episode, we just saw George go home, and it's the night of Tribal. Shawnee is very proud of herself for slaying the king.
Boo.
She did it. She knew that George was at 99 days and didn't want to let him get to 100. She's been to more than 100 days, and she wanted to make sure that he didn't get there. So
good for her for getting her revenge on George.
Yes, she did the right thing. I thought it was funny that she said she felt of a bit of a savage, and some might say that she is feeling like a king.
Meanwhile, the only king on the island, King Luke, King of the Jungle, is also very proud of himself for getting out King George, although he voted for Shawnee.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he's just very happy George is gone. I think George got underneath his skin.
He's a funny guy.
Just interesting that he's so happy and he wasn't even a part of it. Anyway, then we open up on day 7 at the World Tribe. So we see that all the 4 girls are still working together. They are trying to make this Girls Alliance stay strong. And Parvati and Suri have this fancy way of gathering up the girls to have a discussion about who are we going to send home next time we go to Tribal Council. So the women on the USA tribe, Parvati and Suri, or from the US, want to keep Tony around. They want to stay USA strong. They think that Tony will be a good shield, particularly for Parvati, because he is such a big threat. He's a 2-time winner. He's a little bit more outgoing and kind of in-your-face, showy gameplay that they think that he would be a great shield.
I agree. He probably is. But I also really enjoy watching Tony play. So I hope they do keep him. And I think there's good reason.
And as you might recall, I predicted that he would win the whole
yes, that's
the whole
right,
season. So
right.
I'm rooting for him to stay too. So I'm like, let's vote for Tommy. I don't really have any connection to Tommy.
Yeah, but the international group wants to keep Tommy around. So Cass and Lisa initially had an alliance with Tommy and Rob. Rob obviously didn't last in the alliance, but they still want to work with Tommy moving forward. So when the 4 women are all together, it's really a 2-2 split. And they're saying, okay, we better come up with a name. Is it going to be Tommy or Tony? And then they all kind of discuss, and then they say, well, I guess we're not going to decide tonight. They all head back.
We'll get back to it, right.
So definitely a standoff, and we'll see what happens.
And then back at the camp, Tommy tells Tony that he saw the women all go to speak. And then, so Tommy it doesn't look like Tommy's doing much, but I guess he at least is noticing something's happening.
Right. He doesn't. He's not getting a lot of camera time.
Right. So it all could be based on the editors.
Mm-hmm.
Could just be because Tony is saying so much. There's no time to show anything with Tommy.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
Tony does seem like the type of person that would dominate a conversation if you were talking with him in a group.
Yeah. We head on over then to the Aussie beach. We see that Janine and Luke are feeling as if they're on the bottom after last night's vote. However, they've decided that they want to go to the final 2 together.
That's neat that they did that, but I didn't really feel any sincerity there.
Really? I thought they would stick together.
Okay. I mean, it's great if they do, but I didn't feel it like they were really like being that sincere with each other.
Do you think just because they happened to be the 2 of them left
think
here,
so,
and they both knew David, maybe?
Right. So they're kind of like, we're kind of getting at the end of our rope, so let's hang together.
Maybe. But sometimes that's how the best alliances form, just out of necessity.
Yep, that's true.
Well, Janine and Luke are turning into a better place in this tribe because Sarah feels that there's a rift between her and Kirby.
Yes, it's very strange. I mean, we didn't see a lot, and Kirby just seems to be a woman of few words, so I don't think that she means to be curt. I think she just is, that's just the way she is. But we're not living out on the islands with her.
I don't think Kirby and Tony could be friends. Tony would be talking. Kirby would be keeping to herself.
Kirby would be smiling the whole time. She has a wonderful smile.
But Sarah really thinks that for whatever reason, Kirby's trust is broken. And I'm not sure that I agree with that. But Sarah takes this over to Janine and says, I don't think Kirby trusts me. I wonder if we should get her out. And then she immediately backtracks and says, oh, well, actually probably Shawnee. But I think it's too late. She already let Kirby's name slip. And that's really a nail in the coffin, I think, for their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I was really surprised. But then Janine tells Luke And Luke says, well, you better go tell Kirby that.
Right.
So Luke is always going to stir the pot.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense. Use it to your advantage. I think that Janine and Luke are in this position where, okay, they could work with Sarah because she's saying that there's, this break in that relationship. But I think Luke would rather work with Kirby. Kirby's in a great spot in this game. She's a really good player. It makes sense to me that if there's a break, you'd go on Kirby's side over Sarah.
And I think it was funny. I'm going to throw back to one of the episodes where David was talking about Kirby's in the water, and King David, or the god David, was saying, "Oh, I have to go bow down to the princess in the water,"
right?
And so Kirby, right off the bat, she was a top player.
Yeah, just her essence makes people want to work with her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do think it's very interesting that Sarah was preaching this game of loyalty early on. She was unable to save David because she had to be loyal to Kirby. And now all of a sudden she's turning on Kirby over kind of being dismissed from the beach. Like it seems like I could see how feathers would have been ruffled between that short interaction we saw between Sarah and Kirby, where Sarah said, "Oh, should I come with you?" And Kirby said, "No, you don't need to." But it certainly wasn't Alliance ending to my knowledge. So I am surprised that loyal Sarah is loyal no more.
Yes, it was very strange. So then we go to the immunity.
So we find out that we are not playing for tribal immunity today, but it's not the merge.
Right. It's like a tease.
And yeah, it's a pre-merge immunity, basically. So both tribes are playing an individual game against their own tribe for one immunity necklace per tribe. So this challenge is they have to put their feet up and kind of balance a block against a pole. It looks very difficult.
And Lisa is out of it for medical reasons.
Yeah, so she wasn't able to compete.
And then as soon as it begins, Kirby and Parvati start talking to each other, whispering to each other, saying, "I'll work with you. You want to work with me?"
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Kirby is the one who brings that up because, like we were just saying, Kirby seems to be just kind of sitting back and letting people come to her. But I guess Parv must be someone that Kirby actually wants to work with because she's going out of her way to say, "Hey, let's link up."
Yes, but Kirby said she didn't watch any past shows. She doesn't know anybody on the other team.
You're right.
She said that, yeah.
But maybe just through her interactions and immunity challenges, she has
she
a
realizes
feeling.
her strength. Yeah.
I mean, Kirby does seem to have a instinct about who to work with. So maybe she just could feel it.
Well, I think, she's an athlete, so she knows to see who the strong people are on the other team.
Sure.
Yeah, Kirby's a coach, so she knows who the good players are.
Right. It just comes naturally.
It's also possible, even without, watching any season with Parvati, she could have just heard through the grapevine that's someone to watch out for.
Sure.
And if you have someone to watch out for, you'd rather them on your side than against you.
Right. Well, right off the bat, Luke is having an extremely difficult time.
Yeah, Luke cannot take this challenge. I don't remember him being particularly good at endurance, and he has not changed.
But it was an awkward position with that piece of wood under their knees, and their hands had to be on those blocks of wood on the side, so you couldn't wipe the sweat out of your eyes, and it looked very uncomfortable.
It did.
He did not make it very long.
No.
4.5 minutes to be exact.
Right.
So Luke is the first one out. The Aussies are dropping like flies. They eventually have to put their hands behind their head to make it a little bit trickier. It ends up being a showdown between Shawnee versus Sarah. Shawnee has done a similar challenge before. I'm pretty sure it was with Liz. She had to put the two of them held a block between their 2 feet, and Shawnee won that. So I thought this was a shoo-in for Shawnee, but no, she slipped below, and Sarah came out with the immunity necklace.
Yeah, so pretty quickly, Sarah won the immunity
I
necklace.
think it was 45 minutes.
But the rolled, wow, they are standing strong.
Every one of them still in the game.
Yeah, we're looking at Tony, Sari, everyone is still in there after Sarah wins immunity over on the Aussie tribe, which is very surprising that they were able to outlast even Shawnee.
Right.
And then they switch it up and say, okay, just 1 foot on the box, because they probably figure this is going to go on for 4 hours if we let them sit there like this. Let's make it more challenging.
Yeah, and so it finally comes down to Parvati versus Cass. And Parvati, always the sneaky one, tries to make a deal with Cass. She said, okay, if you drop out of this endurance challenge, I'll drop out of the next one. And I thought that was very interesting because neither of them are really on the chopping block tonight. So I'm thinking, why does Parvati want the immunity necklace this time? Why wouldn't she? If I were her, I would say the opposite. I would say, I'll drop out this time. You drop out next time.
Right. There really isn't that big of an advantage for her.
I think she's lying. I think she's saying, give it to me. I'm not going to hold my word to you. She doesn't. This is Survivor.
Right.
Or maybe Cass would be voted out before she has to play it. So
Yeah.
I think it was just a total play for her to win her necklace.
And is it just an unlikely circumstance that the two of them would be the final two
Sure.
people in another challenge?
Yeah.
Right.
Especially
What
after
are
seeing Shawnee do it and Sarah.
Right.
Right.
But interestingly, Cass says no. She says that she's just going to keep going, keep playing until we get to about an hour 40, an hour 45, and Cass is really shaking and it looks like she's about to drop. And then finally she says, okay, we'll do the deal and drop. So I guess if you're in Cass's position, yeah, why not do the deal? If you know you're about to drop,
Well,
it
the
doesn't
offer was
hurt.
still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Right.
not
Why
like
not?
she just,
So Parvati wins the immunity necklace for the World Tribe. So both Sarah and Parv are going to be safe tonight. Interestingly, as Jonathan's putting on the necklaces, he says one of you will be the next player to go home.
Right.
Or he
one of the
even
people
said,
who
he
didn't
said-
win the necklace.
Yeah.
Yeah. One player will be going home, but two,
Tribes are coming to vote.
everyone's coming to tribal council.
So when he said that, what did you guys think was going on?
I thought that one tribe would vote out. Before he said that, I thought each tribe would vote out someone from the other side,
Oh,
the
yeah.
other team.
And I thought maybe perhaps both tribes would have to decide on one person from both tribes.
All
Who are we
together.
going to? Yeah.
All
just-
together vote on,
yeah,
on
one
one
person.
one vote for the entire group.
Correct.
That's what I thought was going to happen. It would be an 11-person vote, and the one person with the most amount of votes would go home.
Right.
But before we get to know what's going to happen, we go to the Aussie side, correct?
And they're trying to guess just as much. So Shawnee has been in an all-star game before where a similar thing happened, and she said that both tribes voted out a person, and then those two votes had to make fire, and then the loser went home, and the winner got to sit back down on their tribe. So that's their assumption of what's happening today.
And Shawnee continues when she's talking to Luke and says, I'm going to vote for Janine. And I voted for David and George because they voted for me, and now they're gone. And so she's trying to talk to Luke and say, hey.
So the situation is that Shawnee was voted out in the past. She was burned before by both David and George. So then in this kind of redemption season for Shawnee, she then targeted David and George before they could get to her. And now Shawnee's going to Luke and saying, hey, you and Janine have a history. You got Janine out, so she would be smart to get you out later. Which I didn't even remember that Luke and Janine had played together. But per Shawnee's Survivor knowledge, she is fearful. Maybe not even fearful. She's just warning Luke, Janine might come after you, so you better get her now before she gets you.
It's a good idea. Good thought.
And Luke tells us, no, he's not going to do that.
So Luke, Janine, and Kirby are meeting up, and they're thinking that the three of them will all go for Shawnee. Shawnee thinks that she, Kirby, and Sarah are going on Janine. So Kirby, again, is in the middle at the power position, and Kirby's leaning towards wanting to keep Shawnee, but it could go either way.
Yes, but one quick thing. I thought that Sarah, with her immunity idol, walks up to Kirby and says, would you want to go to fire? What? Why would you ask Kirby if she wants to go to fire? Of course not.
Well, we have seen in past seasons of Survivor that people do want to go to the fire-making part of the challenge because they say, oh, I know that I can be in fire and it's good for my resume and this and that. So I think it's worth a suggestion, and it also works out in Sarah's favor if Kirby goes to fire and then doesn't come back.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't like
such a risk.
Right. I just did like that Sarah asked Kirby that.
Yeah.
Well, Kirby said she's not going to fire.
So the end of that.
Then we go to the World Tribe to see their scramble. So they also have no idea what's going to happen. Suri, though, thinks that only the two people with the immunity necklaces would be able to vote, and that would be interesting.
Interesting idea, but not
Yeah.
very fair. Right.
Not fair, but would be interesting.
Yeah, I guess the show's not about being fair, right?
Meanwhile, Tony is very nervous. He sees that no one is speaking with him. He's at the camp by himself, and he wanted to keep the Americans strong. So he's like, what's going on? I know something's wrong. And he pulls the Boston Rob out, and he follows the women everywhere so they can't talk about him.
It's funny that they didn't show Tommy saying he's not worried about anyone talking. It's just Tony's worried that they're not talking to him. And sure enough, they were talking about him. Yeah, they were talking about him.
And Tony did a great job. I mean, just minute after minute, he's popping up out of nowhere. Yeah. They're constantly, like, you hear them start to say, Tony, oh, he's behind you. Hey, do you guys need any help? Just constantly there. So,
but no spy check. But I guess he didn't need it.
I think
he knew.
He didn't have the time.
They're not going to fall for that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Also, I think Tony knows that he's kind of on the bottom, so all he wants to do is prevent them from saying it. So we kind of come back to the same issue that we had at the beginning, prior to the challenge, is that the women are really locked in. The women from the U.S. want to vote out Tommy. The international women want to save Tommy, and Tommy's just being pulled in every direction. So Tony is told, yeah, we're going to vote out Tommy. He obviously doesn't believe it. And then, interestingly, though, Tommy kind of walked up to Parvati and said, well, you don't have to tell me a name, but, like, what are we thinking? And Parvati said, I don't know. We don't have a name yet. And Tommy's like, okay. And I'm thinking, has Tommy heard a name? Who does Tommy think anyone is voting for?
Right. How does he not see that it's the four of them are together?
And it sounds like from prior conversations, he is aware that he and Tony are on the outs. But why aren't Tony and Tommy talking at this stage of the game and saying, okay, let's pick a name or at least do something? I feel like we just see Tommy wander out of nowhere, say, I don't know a name, and then we don't see him again.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they said Tony, in the beginning of the show, they said Tony was searching for idols a lot, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, certainly not now.
And he doesn't know that anybody has or doesn't have an idol.
Right. I'm not sure why Tony's not looking for an idol. But
well, he does tell us that he plans to pretend that he has an idol. So a classic Tony move.
Yeah, well, good for him. That's great. I think it's interesting that at some point it clicks in his mind, Tony's mind, that Parvati found the key.
Yeah, so Tony has great intuition, just like Kirby, and he knows that basically the key hunt has stopped, and he knows, somehow he figures it out that it was Parvati who found the key. I don't know how he figured that one out, but I mean, he was correct in that assumption.
And he wanted to create chaos at Tribal. So this is wonderful to watch Tony think this, because we know it's going to be a lot of fun at Tribal.
So then we head to Tribal, and Jonathan finally tells us what the big reveal is going to be. So each player has to send up someone to go to Fire, and then the winner of Fire, their entire tribe goes home, and the losing team has a regular Tribal. But it's not that easy. It's not just anyone gets to make fire. You have to draw rocks to figure out who is making fire. So it's not you get to send up your best person. So that's an
that would have been cool. Yeah. But it was interesting they weren't even very separated at Tribal, the two tribes. It was almost just like two big long rows of people.
Yeah,
I thought maybe they'd be like more angled towards each other or something. You know?
I think Luke even said it's quite cozy.
Yeah.
They're preparing us for the merge.
Yes.
Right. But maybe they were thinking more people would talk, the people on the edges of each tribe.
Yes, yeah, maybe.
Well, it turns out that the two making fire are Sarah. So Sarah just keeps popping back up. After winning the immunity necklace, she is now making fire for the Australian tribe. And Sari is going to make fire for the world tribe. And Sari is already like, hey, Tony, give me some tips.
Yeah, Tony is really bummed that he didn't get the rock. I mean, that would have been great if he did.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Tony make fire just a couple years ago over on Winners at War, and that is what secured him the final 3 spot to get him his second win. So we know that Tony can make fire quite well. And Sari, it's her 5th time playing Survivor, so you would think she would have this in the bag, but she is nervous, and unfortunately it is for good reason.
But I think that's something you have to practice, up until the day you leave. You got to practice
I'm not
once
sure
a week
why
or something
she
making
didn't.
a fire. Yeah.
She just was so nervous. She said that it's making her sick, so...
Well, Suri's been spending too much time in a Scottish castle on the Trader,
Right.
enjoying life of luxury over there, not
Which
making
she won.
fire. Yeah,
Right. She won that.
So she forgot about fire.
Wearing cool clothes on that show.
Yeah. So Sarah and Suri both go up to their tables, and Tony's like, get the magnesium. She's going with the magnesium. And I think that is my tip for all of our listeners going out to play Survivor. I think you put just as much magnesium as possible in the husk, and then you start sparking. Unfortunately, Suri could not get a spark, but Sarah could.
Yeah, Sarah
She
won.
did. Well, she got a spark and then started waving it around, and I thought that how is this
like
going
a
to
baby.
work?
Yeah, the way she did
and
it
then
like a
she's
baby.
waving it around and back and forth, and it lit.
Yeah, I had never seen that strategy before, but I guess, once you get the spark, you have to add oxygen to it, so everyone's always blowing on it. So I guess she thought, more oxygen by just swinging it around, so it
Like
worked.
a baby.
Good for
I
her.
created a
Yeah.
baby. Yeah, she did a great job.
And then she built it up. It looked amazing. Tony was saying, it's going to go out, Suri. Don't worry about it. And it did not. Unfortunately, Suri really wasn't able to get much of anything going. But
No.
Sarah won the fire-making challenge, sending all the Aussies back to camp for a night off.
Woo! I was
Right.
happy to see that. I mean, I love our United States
world
representatives, the world team, but I also really like the Aussies.
Especially
You're
with,
torn.
Yeah, especially with Shawnee in trouble tonight. I'm glad they went home safely.
Right.
So now it's time to get down to business, and Tony is up and at it. He jumps up immediately, and he says, oh, so you don't have one? To Tommy, basically implying, oh, so you don't have an idol, as in, I do have an idol.
Which is kind of a mean thing to do, right? I mean,
Well, he's trying to reinforce that he does have an idol.
I know, but at someone else's, putting him down, sort of like, oh, you don't have one, but I've got one.
I think he was just in the moment, just trying to, woohoo,
Right.
what can I do? I got a key.
Right, I got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then he gets his shoe out and says he's going to wear it around his neck. And I think this is funny. He says George can get this tattooed on his chest. That
Yeah.
was hilarious. Very, very good.
So unfortunately, though, we do see this all the time, that if you have an idol that you're going to make public, you bring it out, you wear it on your chest, whatever. But I feel like we've seen this a lot where everyone's like, oh, I'm not going to show it to you, but I really do have an idol, and it's always fake if they don't show it to you.
Right,
so I
right.
think that's my takeaway. My other tip for our listeners going to play the game, if they don't show you the idol, they don't have the idol.
Right, but it could be if you do have an idol and you don't show it, but just say you
Yeah.
do, people still will vote for you.
Yeah.
And then you can come back and pull out your idol and win.
Yeah. Well, Tony is causing chaos. He runs over to Cass. He says, who are you voting for? And she said, I don't know. And he kind of laughs
Yeah.
at that. And I'm thinking, come on, Cass, you have to at least make a lie. Say Tommy, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
You're allowed to lie. It is Survivor.
Or just say you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tony says people are telling me they don't know who they are voting for. And it's just crazy, and he knows that's not true. And then he does a really good thing. While the women are all speaking, he talks to Tommy and tells him, tell your international plans to vote for Suri.
And we'll both vote for Suri, and then we can get her out.
Yeah, so he's really coming after Suri, saying we have to break up Suri and Parvati. They're too close. And I think Tony made the right decision in targeting Suri here, because I think he also is using Parvati as kind of a threat mediator. He knows that Parvati is a little bit more showy and a more obvious threat, whereas Suri is a little bit more under the radar. So for Tony's game, he is okay with losing Suri at this point.
Well, I think he has to. He has to save his back, right? He's just doing anything he can.
So we see Tommy go up and grab Lisa and Cass, and it sounds like they're kind of starting to talk about it, but then Suri joins, and now we don't know what's going on.
And then also, Tony
And Pav are
are
arguing.
really arguing. She's, I know you found the key. I know you found the key. He will not let up.
Right, and she doesn't walk away. She doesn't go over to the other group who's having
No,
a
well,
side
she's
war.
strong. She's very strong. She's just going to stick up for herself.
Right.
So,
What's unfortunate, though, is that we were all wondering if Parvati was going to grab the hidden idol and play it for Tony to save him, and Tony really burnt that bridge here.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
too bad. Yeah.
I don't know. She would really be on. That'd be a bad thing to do, I think, without everybody's approval.
Well, she didn't do it, but she didn't have the chance because Tony was really going in on her finding the key. And I thought, that's very surprising considering he doesn't actually know that she found the key. He really was not letting up.
Well, he figured it out in his brain. He knew something, happened. He's very good at that.
And that they all stopped looking for the key when they did find the key.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
I mean, Suri could have found it, Cass could have found it, but he somehow knows that it was Parv.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, then it is time to vote, and we all go up. Tony pulls out his sock, And it's time for the idol play. Tony said something about, okay, here I go. I'm going to go play it. He pulls out his sock. He's walking up to the podium. And I'm like, does he actually have an idol? Did we forget? Like, what is he about to play? And he says, oh, you know what? I'll save it for later. But as all this is happening, Suri turned to Parvati and said, if he plays an idol, go up there and play one for me.
Right. Should we grab it?
Well, why wouldn't she go get it herself?
I don't understand why she wouldn't just say, I'm going to go get it.
Right.
I guess since Parvati found the key, it's kind of like Parvati's idol. So she wanted, I guess she thought, she should be the one to play it. It is a little bit sneaky to be like, oh, you told me the idol's there. I'm grabbing it and playing it for myself. Maybe. But very interesting. Or maybe Suri wanted to lower her threat level again and say, oh, I wasn't the one who played the idol. Someone just played it for me,
Well, I saw it as fair game for all the women. And I just couldn't believe that they weren't all trying to get that. I thought that was very strange. I thought they would get it. But
like
try
walk
right
up
away.
there and pick it up?
Yeah, like one,
Well, then everyone knows you have it. And then that word is out for the rest of the game, because once Merge comes along, what do you think Tommy's going to do?
Yeah, you're right.
Tommy's going to say, hey, everybody, I'm friends with you. And somebody has an idol over there.
So then they read the votes.
Suri gets one vote and every other vote is for Tony. I thought for sure they were going to split it or something, but not even a single vote for Tommy. Everyone voted for Tony, and he was the fourth player voted out of this game.
And had he had an idol, that would have just stunned them.
Yeah.
So all the males keep getting voted out. So the women are doing a wonderful job. They're getting out those males. But unfortunately, some of those males happen to be very good, fun players to watch on TV. And I do feel badly for Rob. I don't feel he even got a chance to, show what he's like to us.
And it's always tough to be the first one out.
Right.
You don't forget to see anything. But it was sad, though, because at one point, Tony, during Tribal Council, said to Parvati, it didn't have to be this way.
Right.
And I thought, or it didn't have to be like this. I thought that is sad that, going into it, we all thought Parvati, Tony, Suri, they're going to be working together.
Right.
And it is sad to see them, screaming at each other.
And they decided to go all women.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a women's group.
Right. I don't know why they didn't include Tony in that.
Right. Well, because he's not a woman.
Yeah, so it's too bad. I thought it was sad to see him go.
And Parvati makes one more move at the end.
As they're walking out of camp, or of Tribal back to camp, Parvati stops. She has Jonathan hold her torch, and she grabs the idol and runs back to meet up with Cass. So good job, Parvati, for pulling that off. Sophia and I were even talking about it on the episode that they found out about it. We were saying, I think you just have to play it the moment you find it, because how could you even sneak back after camp and grab it? And we said, no, there's no way you could do that. But apparently you can.
Well, we'll see at the beginning of the next episode.
Well, clearly Cass knows what happened. Yeah. But that's Parvati's, close ally. And especially now that Parvati just voted for Tony, who Cass wanted out anyway, I think that this kind of locks in that Cass isn't going to tell anyone about this idol.
Right, but does Cass just keep it between the two of them, or does she tell the whole four?
I don't know.
I don't know. But I think they all should have gone after that idol. That's what makes
Parvati
such a good player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's an excellent player. There's just no doubt about it. She is the queen of queens.
She's been going on this long.
Right.
Yeah. She's a good player for a reason.
Right.
So it was wonderful to see another dramatic tribal council.
It was. Nobody predicted that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Matt, your winner pick is out of the season.
I know. Wah, wah, as I heard.
Yeah.
Do you have a backup that you're going to be rooting for now?
Oh, gee, you're putting me on the spot. Well, let's see.
Maybe an Aussie?
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's their game right
I know,
now.
and there are more of them, right?
King George brought them all to play together.
Yes, I did hear him say he brought to the global
world.
level.
Yes.
Which perhaps he did. He did travel to the United States talking about it, and his gameplay, people, I think, became interested in it because of him.
I'll go with Shoney.
Okay, so Shawnee is now on the table as a new winner pick. So Shawnee or Kirby, better pull out a win or we're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all very much for joining us. Please let us know over on Instagram at ATA Survivor, TikTok at ATA Survivor, or email us at ataustraliansurvivor@gmail.com and let us know what you think about Tony going home without an idol in his pocket. Do you think that the U.S. alliance should have stuck it out a little bit more? And who do you think is going to win at our merge episode tomorrow? Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.